Hello, hello, hello. This is Corey Thompson from Dice Tower Dish about board TV, Rose Gauntlet, Play to Z, etc.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode number 383. And we're recording this on August 19th, 2025. Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek.
It sounds like you're whispering in a sultry tone. You
Well,
need the gravitas.
I know you love my sexy voice, Corey. So there you
Well,
go.
yeah,
There,
that's what I
there
live
you go.
for.
There you go, Corey. Anything for you. Corey, Corey, before we creep out every person in the audience and Paula, who's sitting behind me here, please tell me what is happening in the life and business of Corey Thompson.
It has been a fun week. Basically, I spent the week in Seattle with dear friends Peter and Dee. They just got a new house in Seattle overlooking the city. Most gorgeous view I've ever seen in my life. The house is completely surrounded by blackberry brambles, can almost reach out the deck and pick the most gorgeous ripe blackberries right off of all the thorns. It was amazing. They took us to incredible food. I can't recommend enough. Hamdi Turkish, it's high-end Turkish food in the Seattle, was so freaking good. Ate such amazing dish after dish after dish. And of course, we played some amazing board games. I played City of the Big Shoulders for the first time,
No idea what
which
that
is,
is.
oh, it's a heavy stock manipulation economic game, and it was so incredibly good. It's about the early 1800s in Chicago and buying and selling stocks. Um, Peter had this idea that he wanted to introduce me to 18xx games, but didn't know if we had enough time for a full 18xx game. So we played this, which was the economic side, and I am busy trying to hunt it down. It
All
was
right.
that good. We also played Lightning Train, which was the new bag building train game from Direwolf, which was really fun. Inferno this is an old favorite of mine, worker placement in the world of Dante's Inferno. Played The Wondrous Museum, which is an import game a little harder to find. That was a really cool engine building card game where you flip over wooden gems to activate sets of cards in your tableau. And then we pulled out an old classic that I don't know if I've ever played. It was Turn and Taxi, which won the Spiel way back when.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I've played that.
I own Turn and Taxi, but I was thinking back, and I don't think I ever played it until this visit. One of the big hits, though, is we went and visited the Weissmans, and this, oh my God, they are such incredible people. They are just an epic dynasty in board game history. Founders of WizKids, creators of FASA, the BattleTech system, designers in their own right. The whole family was there, and we ended up playing a game called Gibberers. This is an incredible party game. Gibberers is you create a language from scratch and you need to speak only in this made up language, trying to communicate ideas and nouns back and forth. And you flip cards of new words you need to describe using only old words you've created. We had a full house. I think at our high point, we had 12 people and 8 dogs just bouncing around this house while we're speaking in complete
So
gibberish.
I guess you don't remember that I played this game at PAX this past year. Gibberers.
I remember you
You
did, but
do.
I didn't.
Yes. It's absolutely insane and really, really cool that yeah, you're speaking in your a made up language like your cave people, I guess, primitives, and you're trying to create a language based on different aspects. So yeah, I think this game is fantastic and needs a
Yeah, it's
publisher.
a well, it's released in Japan and
Yep.
it does need better localization.
Hmm.
Hobby Japan had brought some over through Madigo, at Gen Con, and they were selling a very limited amount. I think it was less than 50 a day,
Okay.
and they had some English rules in there. It was fantastic. It's a
It's a cool
really
game.
fun game if you can get a chance.
What
So
else? Yeah. Anything else?
I
That
think
sounds
that
about
was
it.
a lot. It has been insane.
That's
There's
pretty
other
good.
things which I think you'll talk about
There might
in
be
what
some more.
you've been up to.
So for my gaming, it just happens to be the first thing here. I did try Up and Down. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yes,
Yeah, the
I thought you'd really like it.
I really didn't like it. No,
Oh my
it's no,
goodness.
I didn't dislike it. I want to try it with more players. I've only now played it with two players. I played it
Hmm.
on that little mini cruise I went with Jeff Anderson just a few days ago. I'll mention that in a second. Played it with Paula also just to show her the game. Um, it's um it's a little frustrating for me. I don't know. It's like the cards in your hand are not the cards you play. I mean, you play them
Right.
down, but then you have to select a different card based on adjacency of the numbers. It's interesting. I definitely want to try it with more players before I make any kind of
I I
statement about
felt
this game.
a six nimped
Nah.
little
Well,
history
well,
in there.
that's not a good. I mean,
Oh, I
six
like six nimped.
six Nips is a great little party game with absolute chaotic randomness. I've always been like,
You
oh
can be good at it.
no, you can't be. Okay,
You
we'll play
can
six.
be good
We'll
at it.
play six. It's one of those things I've never tried. Actually, we'll play six Nips, and I'll play a random card every time, and I bet I do almost as well as you. That's what I think about
My
six Nips.
wife is
But I
actually incredibly good at six
but I
nip, plays it online board game arena and wins all the time.
I gotta try this game with you. Besides that, I played an old game called Starship Catan. Two
Oh,
two
cool.
player. There's very little Catan in Starship Catan. It's a resource management game and engine building game where you're trying to go out to the planets and collect things and fight pirates. I actually enjoyed it. I'm not a big Catan fan. Catan was great in its day. I just don't think it holds up the way certain other older games like Ticket to Ride holds up, in my opinion. Catan, not for me, not so much. Anyway, I thought it was really good. The game is now like 24 years old. It was published in 2001 by Cosmos. It's out of print, and Jeff Anderson showed it to me. I thought it was a very, very interesting game. So. Um, just got back from that trip that I mentioned a second ago with Jeff on the
Hmm.
Star of the Seas, the largest and newest ship in the world. It was amazing. He just invited me because his wife couldn't go, so he could invite somebody. So we went for 3 nights. They treated us great because it was like a trade show for travel agent types. Just had a great time, just chilling out a little bit and seeing this humongous, amazing ship and all the entertainment on it. Back to the Future is the musical that they're playing there, and that was one of the best um, uh, productions I've ever seen on a cruise ship. It was the best one I've ever seen on a cruise ship, and it's just beautiful. I'm looking forward to seeing it actually, on land because they'll be able to do a few more things on land that they could not do, on a ship that's bouncing around in the ocean. Um, I'm now in New Jersey. As those who can see, I'm not home here. I'm in a hotel room. We're visiting mom again. As I've been doing a lot of my other brother from Florida, my crazy brother. I always talk about him. He's here as well. Plus my brothers who live in New Jersey. So it's kind of like a little bit of a family get together while we're here. Also, Paula's visiting her family while we're here too. Her son is, can I say it, Paula? 30 years old, like this past week. She's can't believe she has a 30-year-old son, but she does. It's very sweet. So we'll be seeing her family. Home for just a little bit after that, and I'll be at Dice Tower Retreat from September. I think it's like 2nd to 7th. So anybody going to be there, please, let's play a game, get a drink, whatever you want to do. Have another event right after that. That I'm going to be going to. for a few days. It's a private event. And then right after that, I rush out to Las Vegas for the World Series of Board Gaming. And that's September 19th to 23rd. I really hope to see everybody there with a great spirit of competition. It's going to be amazing. And then I have like almost a month before the Essen trip. So I can't wait to have a little downtime there. And then Corey, I'll see you obviously in Essen, and
Yeah.
that's going to be great. I'm going to make a little Netherlands trip as well right before that, just because well I've never really been to Amsterdam other than the airport.
Oh, that's
So
lovely.
yeah, I'm going to do a couple of escape rooms with Zev and some other friends like Holger, and I think you know Holger as well. Um,
Absolutely.
and some other people that'll be there. So that's really cool. Um, I'm doing a little bit of work for Play to Z because, I'm a team player and, I just can't stop doing things for free. So I've been working on rules for a particular game that I can't mention right now. Um, Zeb's very busy doing all his stuff, so I took a little responsibility to do this, so which is really good. And I'm gonna have a special announcement at the end of the show, in our little ending segment about
Wow.
a play to Z thing that even Corey doesn't know yet, unless he rushes down there and takes a look at it before I make it. So don't look, Corey. Wait until
I
you
know
hear what it's
already.
gonna be. You know already, of course you do, because you looked. Anyway, let's get to the event deck. Corey, amazingly enough, it's a slow news week. I can't believe it.
Whoa.
One of the news items, the first one that we're going to mention, is not even related to the board game industry. Why would I mention it then? Well, it's Embracer Group. Now, as everybody should remember, if they're listening to us for even a year or so, the Embracer Group was the parent company of Asmodee. Asmodee is now a publicly traded separate company. They spun them off, and Embracer is in the process of spinning off another company, and then there'll be three companies. The other ones are going to be they call it Coffee Stain Group, which is electronic gaming, and then it's Fellowship Group or Fellowship and Friends or something like that, whatever, which is going to be all of their major IPs, like Middle Earth, like Middle. It's basically it's Middle Earth Enterprises and other big
Mm.
IPs. But why am I even mentioning them if they're not even part of gaming anymore? Well, they're electronic only. Well, the reason is they just announced their first quarter 2025 results. Remember, we talked about Asmodee's, who did great in the first quarter 2025. And their results were not very good, which is very telling. They spun off Asmodee, and now Embracer themselves have had a bad quarter. Their net sales decreased by 31%. That's year over year for the quarter, with PC console games decreasing by 38%, mobile games decreasing by 63%, but entertainment and services increasing by 41%. So, my very brief analysis and just imparting this is that hobby gaming, Asmodee, did really well that quarter. Um, the entertainment services is like Middle Earth Enterprises and major IPs that are going into that. They did very well, but electronic gaming is sucking right now, as an FYI. And maybe it's not all electronic gaming because I don't follow that very closely, but certainly the electronic gaming that is owned by Embracer Group is not doing particularly well right now. Very interesting. I found it interesting.
Hmm.
Corey not saying anything. That's fine, Corey. It's okay. I'll just keep talking.
I no, I find it interesting, and I'm wondering how much of it is just a byproduct of them being Embracer alone versus we've now removed all the data from the spin-off company.
We don't know.
Because
I don't have that much
you always
insight.
have weird numbers in a quarter where you've just removed a whole bunch of stuff.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I own a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of Embracer, so I'll continue to follow it. And it's not going to be like it's something that we're going to be talking about a lot, but I'll
Sure.
follow it. If something happens that's interesting, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit because of their history in the industry. All right, Corey. So you are responsible for the next two
Yes.
pieces here, and they're both very interesting. So what do you got here from
Oh,
Polygon?
you're too nice to me. Yeah,
Uh,
Polygon just reported that Meow Wolf, which is a multi-state arts company, and they
I
basically
love them.
create surreal immersive installations. So the most famous one is Meow Wolf Vegas has Omega Mart, a
Oh,
complete fake grocery store that you explore through in a multiverse secret passage kind of way.
shh, don't give it away,
So
Corey.
I mean, that's not giving
Yeah,
it away.
I know, I know.
So what the news is that Meow Wolf is launching a surreal mystery tabletop RPG.
Wow.
So from Polygon, Meow Wolf has announced Tavers, the Meow Wolf role-playing game. It's going to hit Kickstarter early next year, and it's being produced by Exalted Funeral. Exalted Funeral is an award-winning publisher that did Land of Eam and the Monty Python role playing game called Monty Python's Core Curricular Medieval Reenactment Program. So this is really exciting. Meow Wolf is an art company, a creative company, and now they are going to make a an RPG theoretically in the Meow Wolf universe, which, as people who visited the installations know, is a vast, huge universe with all sorts of interactive stories. So this is pretty exciting that they're entering into kind of our world a little bit. Uh,
What's gonna be like I don't quite understand. What is the basis of the role-playing game? Is it gonna be some weird psychedelic stuff that Meow Wolf normally puts out? Like,
Sure.
yeah.
Player characters called Tavers, for their ability to travel through holes they rip in reality, will encounter immortal cybernetic hamsters, underground rat bunks, and sentient pizza.
Yeah, okay.
The mechanics are meant to blur the lines between game and reality. So this is really interesting. Just the fact that they're doing it, and it's going to be so weird. I don't know what else to say other than it's just going to be really, really weird. Again, Kickstarter coming early in the year.
I mean, and as you implied, the Meow Wolf's Omega Mart, which is part of their complex in Las Vegas called Area 15, is a surreal experience as well. So they're kind of just, and all of the other things in Area 15 are like that. They're all these audio visual overstimulation type of things. Really great. If you're ever in Las Vegas, I'm giving you the an order, our fans out there. You have to go to Area 15 and do Omega Mart and that entire complex. I spent an entire day there, and it's just so good. So I guess they're just leaning into that whole thing. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I don't know that it's a
Yeah,
role playing system that would
creative's gonna create.
creatives gonna create, baby. This is true. So if we're just in a surreal place, in that last one, we're now
Yep.
in a real but weird place with this next story, which I
Yeah.
can't fathom. So Corey, again, you found this amazing thing, and this is from our buddies over at Board Game Wire. And what are
Right.
they reporting on here?
So the story is Big Potato Games, the UK board game publisher behind titles including The Chameleon and Herd Mentality, great games, has picked up 16.2 million euros of outside funding
British
from an
pounds.
investment firm. Oh,
British,
British
which
pounds,
is even
even
more.
stronger,
This is like
16.2 million British pounds.
$20 million. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Something like
from
that.
the investment firm Mobeus Equity Partners. So I never thought of Big Potato Games. I mean, they're a fine company and their games are really fun, mostly in the party game genre, but I never thought of Big Potato Games in these sort of numbers. It also goes on to say Mobius will take a minority stake in Big Potato, which has specialized in party games and family weight titles since being founded by Dean Tempest, Ben Drummond, and Tris Williams in 2014. Tempest will continue to lead the company as co-CEO alongside Adam Wright, who has been with the business since 2020, while Mobius investment director Dominic Dracy and firm partner Justin Maltz will join the company's board. Uh, Big Potato has said that it'll use the influx of cash from the deal to increase R&D to accelerate the launch of new titles. Well, yeah, if I had 16 million pounds,
I
I, it would be that would be enough.
yeah. I mean, I'm literally flabbergasted by a number. I'll talk about it in dollars because it's easier to. Like, it's over 20 million US dollars. And this is a company they're ostensibly a mass market style company. Their biggest title that we would probably know is Clask, and that's a dexterity game where you're flicking things across, right? Aren't you doing that? You're trying to hit a ball with
Well, I think
magnets and stuff.
Clask is a Finland local company, and they have a million different publishers that
Oh,
distribute. And I
okay.
think Big Potato might be one of them.
Got it. Okay, so
So,
I do see that, right? So they are just a licensee to sell it someplace. Okay. But that's a decent game and most people know it. After that, the games they had the
yeah,
game of 49. So okay, that
which
was
was good. And Game of 49 had a reskin not that long ago. Sounds Fishy was pretty popular. Chameleon was very popular. Don't Get Got is a strange meta game about trying to figure other things out in a big party group while playing other games. It's there's a lot of just nice party games there, but I assume I don't know enough about the
yeah.
actual
So
company Big Potato that maybe they are also very, very heavy in distribution and localization.
I mean, I'm floored by the number. I literally it makes no sense to me. We obviously don't know the numbers from this company. We don't know what their sales are, but their sales have got to be astronomical for somebody to come in and say, "Okay, here's $20 million, and we're going to take a minority stake in this company." I mean, that makes them. We don't know what does it. Does the article give you an idea of what that percentage of the company that they're going to own? I mean, because we can do some.
No, it
Is it half? Is it a
it just says
quarter?
it's a minority.
Let's assume for a moment it's 49%. That makes this company a $40 million company. And it's probably not 49%. It's probably even less than that. So, I mean, they're valuing this company at astronomical numbers. They must sell so many more of these games into like regular channels, right? This is not going through hobby game stores. It's it might they must be selling just a crap ton of it through like, big box stores and Amazon and specialty stores. It's the only way I can figure this out that this would even become close to making sense numerically. Hedge funds, or should I say, equity
Yeah.
funds, this Mobeus Equity, they don't make dumb bets. They don't make they usually don't like say, okay, here's $20 million and just get back to us. And they must know their
Well,
numbers, and these numbers must be
yeah, a little
tremendous.
bit more about Big Potato. In the article, deeper, it says Big Potato debuted with trivia party game Linky in 2012, and that's still a reasonably popular title. By 2016, it had 10 games on the books and had teamed up with Bananagrams to get its games, such as Scrawl and Obama Llama, into Target. The company had sold more than 5 million games by 2020 and now has more than
Okay.
64 titles for sale online and across 44 countries.
I
There's got to be just a huge distribution and localization side to it.
exactly. And I know none of their games. Basically, I mean, we've mentioned a few obviously that I do know, but 90% of what I see, there are a couple of pages on Board Game Geek of their games, and I don't know, 90% of them. So this is interesting to hear so much money coming into this company. Corey, guess what?
But
That's all the news. Three
but what about
stories,
Diamond? What's
and there's
Diamond
nothing
doing?
to say about the Diamond bankruptcy this week.
Whoa.
So look,
I'm out. I can't handle
I,
this.
I I know, I know. We have to like
It's
shut the whole
weird.
show off at this point, I think.
Yeah.
So some people would be like, "Yay!" Some people are like, "What's the latest news?"
I mostly feel bad Ignacy's not here for the lack of Diamond stories. He's been looking forward to this for a long
He
time.
probably would really love that. But in the meantime, let's get over to strategy and tactics. All right, so we can take lots of questions this week because we certainly didn't do a lot of news. First one's from Levi Moat, and he's at Levi Moat. With such a sedentary hobby, How do you
Mm.
keep up your physical fitness if you do? Should Paula answer that for me? Paula, how do I keep up my amazing physique? This I would like to say it's a dad bod, but my problem is I'm not a father, so I can't claim that. I don't. I'll answer. I mean, I don't. I'm a slug. Um, I have a, as you can probably tell, those who know me, I have a quite the type A personality, quite the I'm always on the move, but I don't do true exercise, and I know this is not a good thing. Corey, what do you do? Do you
I'm
exercise
worse than
truly?
you, I suspect. I'm always going between a bad back and a bad knee and a bad shoulder, and I try to swim where I can, and a lot of walking, and that's about it.
Yeah.
A bicycle every once in a while.
I certainly don't.
Um,
I certainly don't
yeah,
walk enough. I mean, walking is something that Paul and I want to really do more of that. Tends to be a little warm sometimes where we live, so you got to go like first thing in the
you're in a
morning.
swamp.
It's a little swampy sometimes, or a little humid. But Paula, right? We're gonna do that, right, Paula? Say it out loud so we can get it on camera and get it on sound. Go ahead, say it.
Yes.
Yeah, she just said it. We're gonna start walking more. So Levi, maybe you have motivated me to get my butt out. But running through airports, does that count? I do a lot of that. Lynn Webster from New Zealand at VT Nut. I like that. Do publishers pay much attention to the IP becoming public domain each year? Oh, that is a really interesting question. I,
Yeah.
I mean, so right, so let's explain what that means exactly. So, IPs are held by the owner for X number of time, and if they don't, and I think the number now is maybe 75 years. I could be wrong, but it's a certain amount of time, and if they are not actively using it, it then can become public domain. One very notable IP that will not ever become public domain is the Tolkien estate because they are actively engaged with it and using it. So they obviously don't allow it to slip into public domain because it's worth so much money. But things like Sherlock Holmes, Alice in Wonderland, there's plenty
And
and
I
plenty of
think
things.
that's kind of our answer there. Just look at how many games there are based on Sherlock Holmes and Alice in Wonderland. It is used heavily. I think people do pay attention to which ones are new. I remember there's a big rigmarole. The original Winnie the Pooh hit public domain not that long ago. And be careful because there is
Yeah,
Winnie the Pooh by A. Milne and with Shepard's illustration. And that's very different from Disney's Winnie the Pooh. And Disney has been the strongest group fighting against public domain for ages and ages.
yeah,
Having said that, the original Mickey Mouse is in public domain. This is Steamboat Willie.
yeah. But how
And that's
one
a really touchy one as well. If you draw it, a little bit the wrong way, you've crossed
I
into
I
not
can't
public
I
domain.
can't even imagine somebody trying to do a game or anything, book, whatever, based on Steamboat Willie. If you did, Disney would come down upon you. And in the end, he who has the most lawyers wins, and that's sad but true. And
Yeah.
if there's even a gray area, Disney's gonna beat you. They're gonna beat you. They're gonna.
So let's
Um,
just real quick. I'm going to mention some of the things that are going to come into the public domain in
how do
2025.
you know this? You've already typed this in and got this?
I know more than
No,
you
you
do.
do. Well,
I'm on top.
you do. You are a smarter man than me, and I've
Me,
never,
the
ever, ever
pulse,
said
right
that is
there,
not
the
true.
pulse.
The pulse of the
So
world. Okay.
Popeye is coming into the public
Really?
domain, as is Buck Rogers and Tintin. Um, and the skeleton dance, if you remember the old animation of the dancing skeletons, the skeleton dance, I think we'll see that. Also, A Farewell to Arms, William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury, and Virginia Woolf's Room of One Zone. So, and All Quiet on the Western Front. So, I bet some of these will turn into games.
Yeah. So
None of
I
these are like the super hotness that Alice
right.
in Wonderland is, but I think some of these will hit board games.
Yeah, and I think Lynn, my general answer is I don't think people are like not board game publishers at least are really looking closely. And a lot of these IPs, I mean, one of the ones that I remember very fondly as a child is Tintin, right? And that was right that cartoon. Is that the one that you mentioned, or did you say Rin
Hmm.
Tin Tin? Is it the same thing? Rin Tin Tin and Tintin? No, Paula just said
No,
no, they're not the
Rin
same thing.
Tin is the dog.
Is the dog? Oh, okay.
Tintin is the French animated
It was,
cartoon,
yes, 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 yes.
originally a comic book.
Yes, and then it was a cartoon, and I watched that as a kid. So I
Yep.
don't know. I don't know that I think when something really big is starting to come up, then maybe people would be talking about it. So therefore, maybe publishers would get involved. But otherwise, I've never looked to see this. Only Corey is smart enough to be looking. Nathan Jean, or is it Jen? Nathan, who was at 6E38. Interesting. Six, it's
Huh.
like 6 times 10 to the 38th. Is that kind of what he's saying there? I don't
I
know.
bet it's a hexadecimal number.
Oh, it could be. Anyway, um, it seems to me there are a few terms to describe lighter strategy games without downplaying them as stepping stones to better games. Something to do when there isn't a better game or simplistic children's games. The terms I've heard for these are gateway, filler, or family. Is there a better term I should be using for great light strategy games like Azul, The Crew, Forest Shuffle, Carcassonne, Parks, Cascadia, and many others? Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't find any of the things that you've mentioned offensive if that's kind of a thing. Like
Well, I get that some people get a little put off if you say, let's play a filler game, because that implies this is a throwaway game. We got nothing else to do. We're just going to fill time.
I spend more times playing lighter games than I do heavy games. So I
And
I
see, that's the thing. I usually refer to them as lighter games. I'm in the mood to play something heavy. I'm in the mood to play something light. Hey, let's play a lighter game that doesn't take that much time. I don't often use the terms filler or gateway. Um, and it's not because they have any sort of a negative impact in my mind. It's just I don't end up using those terms.
I I don't use because I think gateway is a term that I would use when I'm talking to somebody like who's almost not part of the hobby. I might say like, this is a great gateway game. Try
Oh,
this
sure,
one.
sure.
I would kind of use it that way. But I use the word filler all the time because it's like, hey, well, we have an hour. Let's play something that's going to only take us 30 or 40 minutes. So, we'll fill the time. I don't find that. I don't use the word family much only because, well, like, my family doesn't play games. I don't have kids, so I don't use that. But I'll say filler, casual games, light games. I'll use any of those terms. I don't personally find them to be.
I get it too that a lot of these games are not something throwaway, ridiculously easy. These are serious games. Some of my very favorite games are engaging, elegant, thinky, but light games. So they're not Candyland, let's say.
Very, very interesting. Corey, what do we have next here? We have Jorg Hopfengarten. He's at Jorg H. And he's got a long start to this one. He says, I am an experienced key account manager with 10 years of experience in the book and audiobook industry in Germany. I have looked after clients such as Amazon, bookshops, and large bookstore chains, managed additional projects, and supported audiobook publishers with digital sales. So he's got a lot of experience in managing accounts. A few weeks ago, I set up my own business as a consultant to support book publishers at precisely this interface between traditional sales and digitalization, but also to give small book publishers sales expertise that they would otherwise lack. I excuse me. I noticed that many game publishers have similar retail customers, and I wondered if I could help spread the word about my favorite hobby by helping them professionalize their distribution. In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges in sales for board game publishers that many simply fail to address? So I'm not sure I know exactly where he's going. professionalize their distribution. I mean, there are distinct channels in
Yeah,
hobby gaming for publishers to sell through.
sure.
Whether or not they're doing a good job, it becomes sort of a marketing and sales function, right? Marketing function, sales function to push the games through the channels. Now, for instance, right? So we talk
Yeah,
about our channels all the time. The main channel for game publishers are distributors. They go to hobby distribution. And then we talk about the biggies, Alliance,
yeah,
ACD, GTS. If some people go through Asmodee North America as a distributor, Southern Hobby, PhD. Those are the big ones in North America, and there are plenty of distributors across the world. So we try to push
yeah.
them to take our
Standard
products.
distribution.
That's
There's
standard. Yeah.
also crowdfunding distribution is a separate entity,
Hmm.
and there's private distribution, direct sales, which some smaller companies do. I'll tell you what I think the largest failing is in our industry is that we have a very, very, very sharp border between people in the know and people not in the know. If you run up to a random person and say, "Hey, what do you know about board games?" They will either know everything in our hobby or absolutely nothing in our hobby. They might have heard of Catan or Magic the Gathering, but there's a really sharp gap between gamers in the hobby board space and the rest of the general public. And I think we need that education out there. Role playing games, I think, have a fuzzier border. Almost everybody's heard of Dungeons and Dragons, even
Right.
if they are not in the play, even if they don't play role playing games. They've heard of it. How many people have heard of Ticket to Ride? It's a very sharp border, and I think we need more education and outreach because we tend to be an isolationist industry where we talk among ourselves, but we don't spread information to potential new customers. That's where I think the real need is.
Well, Jorg, if you think you can help us sell games, you should reach out to me. And and if you're offering some services for Play to Z games, we could talk, my friend. So I'm serious. If you want to reach out and if you think you have some insights to help us out to sell more games, I would listen to anybody with lots of experience. But it's a good question. It's just it's difficult um, to really push things further than companies can do within the industry. It's just the challenges are how much manpower can you do to try pushing through the channels. Rob McClune, good buddy of mine, he's at Phantom Existence. Hello, group. If your favorite game, the game you absolutely love, somehow became unavailable, cannot be bought or gotten by any means, and you have no way to play it, would you purchase a copy of a game you knew was fraudulently made? Oh, example, you could buy a black box of Glory to Rome, but made by Timu. Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
so
this is an extension of the piracy argument. A lot of arguments for piracy are what if there's an item that is completely unavailable by any other means? I think I probably would not. I'm spoiled in this industry in that there are many games that I could obsess over. And if there's one I absolutely cannot obtain that I hear is amazing, there's 10 others that I can get that I hear are amazing, and I'm easily distracted like a gnat.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um, yeah.
I mean, what? I mean, if my favorite game, I have a copy of my. Why would you not have a copy of your favorite game? I guess maybe a new game. Maybe you found Glory to Rome. I guess that's a good example, right? You cannot get Glory to Rome. I mean, there are copies in people's possessions. They're not selling them. I assume. I
The
assume.
black box edition. There are other editions of Glory to Rome that are easy to find.
Okay. That was like the original, and that's the one people really want, right? I guess. But whatever the case may be. Um, would I then go get it from another source? Not me. Yeah, I'm like you. I certainly wouldn't do it, so I don't know. Would it be, maybe we should change it. Would it be immoral to do it? If it could not be gotten by any means, I mean, I would think that somebody would sell it to you for an exorbitant price.
Well, and we've got an assumption here that the secondary market is somehow unavailable, and that I've just not seen happen. You
Yeah.
can right now buy a copy of Glory to the Rome on the secondary market that's a legal copy. It's going to run you about $400 for a deck of cards,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which
Right.
I understand is a silly thing to buy. So it's a different argument, though. There's
Yeah.
the argument, would you pay an exorbitant price for it, versus the argument, would you not pay the money to get a fraudulent one? Um,
Yeah. And and
it's a
um,
whole thing.
And I mean, how about this? I mean, I mean, let's because it's a deck of cards, like you said, right? So why wouldn't you just? Because there's nothing wrong with making your own copy of something, 'cause if you're not going to sell it. I mean, you could just make your own copy, right? And just sticker up cards, and now you have a copy of that version with the same words on it. You don't have the art or anything like that. I mean,
And Glory to Rome's a weird example for that because, like I said, there are editions of Glory to Rome that have the weird cartoony art,
right?
and they're not too hard to get.
Yeah. Rob,
There's
you
a
make it.
lot of nuance to
Rob,
this
you're
one.
making us think too hard, Rob. It's too early in the morning. Corey, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning for this poor guy here, and you're making us think hard. But it's a thought experiment. I like it. It's a thought experiment. Marshall S, who's at Massimp1. What are your thoughts to include or charge? What are your thoughts
Charge.
to include or charge for STL files with a game or a Kickstarter game found campaign or download from publisher site for free or cost? Um, it would be great to be able to purchase an STL for making an insert or print minis, no shipping cost. I get that STL files can be shared, so minis could be a problem for people sharing, but inserts are usually free on STL sites anyway. I'd pay for STLs, especially inserts, maybe $20 for the insert files. At this point, many people have or have a friend with a 3D printer.
I This is actually an extension of the previous question.
How about that?
I personally, I think having PDFs available and having STLs available is fantastic. I absolutely love when companies do this, especially with role-playing games. If I can purchase a PDF, I can dynamically search on my computer for pieces, quotes, parts while I'm playing my game. I'd much rather have a digital version than the printed. For STLs, you've got that whole argument, if you've got a miniatures game like Warhammer or something like this, and you need an army of 100 grunts, yeah, it's lovely to have an STL and just print out 100 grunts. I think where the market will balance itself is no 3D printer that any normal human owns will make a miniature of the quality if you buy the miniature. So probably you'll still purchase the really intricate, pretty miniatures, but if you got to fill in with 100 nothing minis, maybe you want to print those.
Right. Well, very good question, Corey. I think we're going along now. It's now time for
Now,
play testing. Yeah. All right. So last week, Corey, as usual, you've come up with these amazing questions for us to explore, and you used the word anal in the question.
I
What do
just
you
to make people like you giggle.
gig? I'm a little boy. So what was the question that you came up with? And then we'll take some. And my goodness, we have a lot of responses here. We have 2 pages of responses. So I'm gonna go.
Yeah, this one
I'm
hit a nerve
going.
or something.
uh,
I asked, do you engage in anal retentive shuffling? That is, are you careful when shuffling cards to maintain card orientation as well as mixing them up? So I thought about this a lot. I've shuffled cards. I riffle shuffle a lot. I like riffle shuffling, and I tend to mix up the orientation when I do that. Just the muscle motion habit of how I do a riffle shuffle.
Sure.
And I've had people comment on this. I've had people get upset that not all of the cards are oriented the same way
Oh, that's ridiculous.
when you deal.
That's
So,
ridiculous.
and we've got a real mixed bag of answers here. There's quite a few people who say it depends on the game. Um, and specifically, sometimes the back of the card is not symmetric, so you can
Yep.
tell orientation. And I guess if I really was analyzing, I could say, oh, I know what that card is because I remember it's oriented differently from that card. But I'm not smart enough to do that. Um, so there was a lot of really cool answers. Peter Harrelson said, only if orientation may actually matter, like when shuffling the submitted cards in Battlestar Galactica for a skill check. Otherwise, not really. And this is kind of what I was talking about, is if you could tell who put in that card because they oriented it
Right.
differently.
Well, that's right. And that's sort of not what we're talking about. We're just talking about like when you, right, when you get a deck of cards, you're going to shuffle those cards. Do you keep them in the same orientation all the time, right? With a game that it matters. And I know there's CCGs where the backs are not symmetrical, and they say it's a good thing when you cut the cards, you turn them so that you're removing them from being in the same orientation as they were when the person shuffled. You want it to make sure that nobody knows what's going on, right? Um, but so that's not what you just said is not part of this experiment here. Um, we have like Ray Greenlee, our voice man. He says mostly yes. Orientation I might let slide if the deck is fairly big and already mixed up. I'm not going to make everyone wait to reorient all the cards, but if it's only a few cards that are off from the rest, I might switch the inverted ones around to make them uniform. Uh, and I also might reorient cards in the discards so that after they've been played, I can yeah, I just don't do it unless the cards need to be in a certain way. No, I'm trying not to do any of this stuff.
Chris Holmes said, if the orientations are already mixed, I'll usually turn half the deck around on each shuffle to make the orientations more arbitrary. This is a lot more thought than I've put into it in the past. But he has an interesting thing to say. He says, very rarely this arises from a printing issue. This method helps with the first Lords of Waterdeep printing and its expansion, which I found to have opposing orientations. Both landscape, one is 180 degrees different from the other on the quest cards. It's D&D, so I've decided to embrace the printing's chaotic neutral nature.
I think
So
this
much more than I knew.
So I think this one is my favorite answer. This is James Thompson from Norway, and he says if the cards have symmetrical backs, I don't care. If the cards have asymmetrical backs, I get pretty anal, and it annoys me when players discard cards in any which way. But I keep my anal retentiveness to myself. And then when everybody goes home, I sit in a dark, lonely corner and weep as I sort the cards back to their proper orientation. If
I love that.
the cards are sleeved, it directly vexes me when cards aren't all shuffled, discarded, etc., with the correct orientation. We just played Slay the Spire, in which all cards have to be sleeved, and one player kept discarding cards upside down, and it made my toes curl. I have seen a psychologist. I wanted advice on how to subtly manipulate people to discard cards properly. Properly, they didn't help me. Thank
Now,
you,
with
James, for making me laugh.
sleeved
That's a great one.
cards, you have to keep the orientation the same with sleeved cards so that the opening of the sleeve is on the same side everywhere. Because if you have the opening on either side, cards will catch in the opening. Sorry, that was too much.
That was just too
Um,
much.
Board Game Fangirl, I love this. Board Game Fangirl does not allow riffle shuffling of her cards, so the question is moot.
Yeah, yeah, and I know people who do not like their cards be riffled because they think that it's going to ruin the cards more. I mean, I guess it would over time, but
It's
I don't.
harder on the cards, and
It's
you
all right,
can't
but I
really
don't care.
riffle
I don't.
sleeved cards.
It's yeah. I don't care. I still riffle my cards. Uli Blenneman, our good friend
I was
over at
just looking
Spielworks.
at Uli's answer.
I'm so bad at shuffling cards that I avoid shuffling at all. I like that one. That's a great one. Take one more, Corey. You have one more there?
Uh, Peter Woken said, I don't think I've ever tried to reorient a shuffled deck of cards. So,
There you go.
short, sweet, to the
There you go.
point.
Does not do it. All right, Corey. So you also, of course, gave us next week's question because you're such a good guy.
I am
What,
such a good guy.
what is next week's question as I set it up here.
I have thought about this a lot, both uh, memories of me being a kid with my parents and having kids. Did you play games with your parents? And specifically, what games? And did they teach you how to play the game, or did you teach them? When I was little, I remember always wanting to play games with my parents, and it was usually my responsibility, if I wanted to play a game with my parents, to teach them my game as a kid. I don't think they ever taught me how to play one of their games. And this is both video games and board games when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
know I was a child in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting one. And nowadays, I think parents are much more gamers than they were when I was a kid in the 70s. So I was just curious, where does the initiative come from? Where does the teaching come from?
So, for me, I did play games with my parents, but they were always the mass market games that, that I think it's like everybody knows how to play Monopoly. And if you don't, it's a quick, like, well, you do this. It's just, it's almost like in everyone's DNA in America, at least, that they know how to play Monopoly. Um, and then there were a few other things, but I think that in the end, if it required a teach, it was me that would do it. Until such time as we stopped playing games together, maybe in my teens when I had other pursuits. But yeah, Monopoly, um, I played
Yeah.
Parcheesi with them. I remember fondly playing chess with my father when I was young. And he probably taught me how to play. And he never would let me win, which I thought was a very good life lesson. Yeah, right. Like I don't, because I think that's the right way to do it.
I get it.
I don't
Well,
think
and
that
I
parents
should
should let
say
you
that
win.
when I had kids, we would play games together, and I would almost always teach my children how to play
There you go.
these games that I loved.
Very, very cool. So, right now, I just put that question in our guild on Board Game Geek.
You're so good.
I am good. I'm good to our fans. And I would like everybody out there who's listening to this voice and Corey's voice to go out and answer that question and give us some good feedback. Did you play games with your parents? Did they teach you or did you teach them? Tell us all about your experience. And in the meantime, the final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can go to the Guild on Board Game Geek, become a member, ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, answer our question to you from the playtesting segment. It's a simple thing to do. You're smart. Go do it. Interact with us on social media. The handle is the same no matter what platform you like. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube. It's at Board Games Insider, Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play to Z Games, Above Board TV, and follow us on the social media of your choice. And remember, you'll be talking directly to us because we answer what's out there. Special call out to the YouTube channels, of course. Those are the ones that we do the most on. It's Portal Games Studio, The Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. We would love to talk to you in person at an upcoming convention. And for me, that would be Dice Tower Retreat, World Series of Board Gaming, and then Essen. Corey, you're going to just be at
QsCon,
QsCon. That's right. You go to
QsCon,
QsCon
Essen, and random trips around Europe.
and random trips around Europe. Nothing that I'm invited to. It's very nice of you. And remember, come up to us when you do see us at these conventions and chat. Sometimes we have something to give to you, a little tchotchke, a little thingy. But we do really like to interact with you too. So please do that. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the team. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, the in-between segments is that of Ray Greenley, whose answer we took this week. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleyvoiceover.com. Corey.
Yes,
This brings us
sir.
to the end of another great episode, and I have something to talk about at the end of this episode. And as I mentioned, it had to do with Play to Z games. And this is like a pre-announcement for those who listen here that Play to Z will start a game found crowdfunding campaign very soon. And the game is, should I tell them, Corey? Maybe I should let them
Nah.
wait. No? All right, no. No, I have to tell them. So the game is gonna be Dogs of War, which is a Paolo Mori game. It was
Love
formerly
Paolo
in like
Mori.
2014. It was like a CMON game, but it's out of print for a long time. Paolo got his rights back a long time ago. So this is not one of the ones that we did not go to CMON and buy the game like so many other people have done. No, Paolo and we negotiated with Paolo when we got the rights to do this game. And this will be in the Shut Up and Sit Down Presents line. So they're in the process right now of doing a video for it. They love this game, which is one of the reasons why when they came to us and they said, "Hey, can you get this game?" Zev went out and he got Dogs of War by Paolo Mori. I'm very excited for this. It's going to be at a much more affordable price point than the original CMON game. You know, those games are always blown out and stuff like that. But the gameplay in this is just fantastic. So there'll be a preview page coming soon. The crowdfunding is scheduled at the moment. Oh, I'm not sure. It's like in early September, I believe. Don't have an exact date, but it's coming soon. Watch for some of the marketing that'll go on and some of the announcements and things like that. Dogs of War, Paolo Mori game coming to GameFound by Play to Z. Corey,
Awesome, awesome.
thank you for being here with me. Thanks for getting up at the crack of dawn.
So tired.
Thanks for being anally retentive. Can we say we should take it easy, everybody? We'll see you next week.
See you later, everyone.
Bye bye.